Morty and Patty, thank you so much for meeting with me today. Tell me a little bit to start off about Lakeside Pottery. I know it's a passion of yours. Tell me how it got started and what it's all about.
Okay, Lakeside Pottery started by not wanting to be in corporate. I was in corporate for many years, and it wasn't what I intended to do in my life. And one day I quit cold and tried to figure out what that I want to do, and Lakeside Pottery became an entity. So obviously it was a passion, it was a redirection, lifestyle change, and because we loved it so much, it evolved to what it is today. We trained over 5,000 people in the last 8 years that Lakeside Pottery opened. And Patty joined the studio a couple of years later, and ever since we just love every day. We're looking forward to every morning to be here and participate, teaching adult children and teenagers, summer camp, evening classes, just name it.
Okay. And before we start talking about special needs, tell me a little bit about the age group of people that come to you. Like, what's the youngest that come here? And because it's so much fun playing with clay, what's the youngest, and how old do they get? I'm sure you have very professional people that come in and.
We have the full spectrum. We start with children. Our children classes start from age 7. Typically, it breaks down to age 7 to 11, and then 11 through 15. That's mainly our summer camp program for teenagers. Then it gets to adult programs. Adult programs, we have beginner classes, intermediate classes, advanced classes, potter's wheel classes, as well as sculpting. We offer the classes in evenings, weekends, and daytime. One other thing that we offer for the population that use our studio, whether they're students or artists that use our studio, we have something called Open Studio, where we have slots of time for people just to utilize what they've learned in class, or whichever way they want to use the studio if they have experience elsewhere. Okay,
and the whole studio itself is everything is housed here for everybody to utilize. The clay, I can see amazing pieces of clay sitting around, so I imagine everything is here. They come and they do the clay. Do you fire the pieces here and so on and so forth?
We're completely self-sufficient. We have our own kiln. We recycle the clay. It's from A to Z, really, in operation. We do some specialized workshops like raku firing, which we do outdoors firing, or glass beading, or some other specialty, just to meet the needs of our population that are interested in the studio. But we don't do it too often as far as the specialized workshops. There are many people that do work at home, and they use our firing offering as well as glazing.
That's a very good idea.
This way they are able to do it cheaply without spending the money they need to spend if they use our facility.
That's excellent. Patty, I know I'd read this amazing article, which is what ultimately brought you to the both of you today, about special needs. Having a passion for special needs and having a special needs child myself, when I was young growing up, I remember how mesmerized I was when my teacher gave me my first lump of clay, and I could make anything I wanted from it, even though it ended up being a little ashtray. Special needs children certainly learn something when it comes to working with their hands, and it's almost like a therapeutic time for them. Tell me a little bit about what you've seen from children that have come here that have special needs, particularly with the sensory development and the motor skills, because that's very common today.
Well, I think I'm playing with a piece of clay as I'm talking to you, and there's something instantly familiar with clay. Everybody I talk to says, "Oh, I remember it well," and they love the feel of it. And it's, I think, one of the most wonderful parts of it is that it's forgiving. So, we put a piece of clay in front of the kids, and we have a project in mind, and we have to beg them not to touch it. Right. Because it's just calling to them.
You just want to play with it.
You just want to squeeze and punch. And when they do that, when they have the ability to punch and squeeze, it responds. It does what they want it to do. If they want to build it up, it builds up.
Right.
If it falls over, the wonderful part about it is that it's repairable. And I think it gives you this sense of confidence, and the kids can just keep building and growing with it. But I guess it's the responsiveness to it, that, you know, if they squeeze it a certain way, it responds, and they learn that if I squeeze it too much, then I've lost it, but that's okay because I can put it back in and I can squeeze it a little less hard.
Right.
And I see a lot of children who come in very excited and rambunctious, and they put the clay in front of them, whether it's on the potter's wheel or with a hand building project, and I will tell the parents afterwards that the child had this delicate touch, and they look at me with bewilderment because, you know, it's something about, they understand almost instantly that they need to touch it in certain ways,
right,
because they learn right away what to push, how far to push it, and how it will respond. So it's wonderful to see.
That, you know, obviously from looking at the amazing pieces of art that are created in front of us here, not only do the children come in and they get to create their little masterpieces, but they also get to paint them and be creative in that way as well.
Right.
And you'd mentioned to me that parents that have brought their children here that may have special needs are amazed that their child will sit down for 2 hours or 3 hours and just be mesmerized by this whole process. Is that something you see quite frequently?
Oh, very much so. In fact, I'm constantly looking at the clock to make sure that I keep the schedule.
Right, I can
because
imagine.
they'll just keep working on it, and I think, again, because of the confidence that they feel that they can repair and the clay will do exactly what they want it to do, they are able to really express themselves and really grow with a project. And what we'll do is give them a basic template. This, for example, is a basic template where we put 2 round pieces together, and then we say, okay, we're going to make a bank. Well, from this round piece, we've gotten hedgehogs and fish and dragons and, you know, you name it, hamburgers. So it's just wonderful. They have this knowledge that I can make it anything I want.
Yeah, it's total imagination,
the
isn't it?
freedom that
Yeah.
clay brings, I think,
That's
because they're using their fingers. It's not any other tool, except we have, you know, we do have rules.
Sure.
But the rules are easy, and it's fun because I'll tell them that you need to do this in order for 2 pieces of clay to stick together. It's called slipping and scoring. And I'll hear them telling each other, did you slip and score that? You know, so they understand the few rules that there are, but from there they have this freedom, you know, that's really wonderful for self-expression.
Yeah, it's great to be able to create what's in your head, you know, whatever that may be. The calming effect, how would you describe that?
A mystery. I've seen it time and time again, and it's fascinating on the wheel too. We don't do the potter's wheel as a whole class. We do a lot of the hand buildings that I think there's more freedom here. The potter's wheel needs more technique. But I see, you know, after the initial joy of getting all, you know, wet and full of clay, they become absorbed in what they're doing. And I think, again, it's all this ability to control what they're doing, maybe for the first time. You know, a pencil can be frustrating, and paint can be frustrating because it works in a certain way, but a piece of clay, you pinch it and it stays right the way you wanted it to be. So I think it just like brings them in, and this tactile nature of it just absorbs their interest.
Right.
And we have kids who, you know, we love the little kids who won't be humming. You know, we'll just hear humming all of a sudden, and somebody's completely in their own world.
Yeah.
And you know, for 2.5 hours.
And then you know, 11 other kids.
Yes.
And that one kid that's supposedly very shy, humming.
Yeah.
And so therefore you have to assume that they completely ignore the surrounding. One other thing that I wanted to add to the calming effect is what able one to become is not be afraid. And clay does it. It does it to adults. I mean, I'm more focused on adults myself. I watch Patty and others, John and Rachel, dealing with kids. But it's the same thing. Is I don't know any other medium that you explore limits, which that's how you learn, without consequences. So therefore the learning is rapid, And in fact, we encourage mistakes, as we call them, but we call them exploring a limit.
Right.
You can bring it right back, so there's no fear. Everything's going to be okay, doesn't matter what you do. So I think therefore, especially with kids, special needs, it calms them.
Yeah.
You're going to yell at them, it's not going to destroy it, you don't have to start all over again.
There's no stress.
There's no stress.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no right or wrong.
There's no, exactly, that's very, good point. Something that I want to talk about lastly was the fact that you saw a need, or you saw a passion for the children that may have special needs with the clay. And you brought someone in to the studio who had special needs experience, an intern, because you saw that passion. Tell me why you did that and how you think it helped.
Well, we recognized 20% of our offering are for children. Although, you know, between Patty and I, we have 5 children, and we love them. We love to deal with them. We see kids. We get passionate. We have a lot of pets as well. So when we've realized that what we do really makes a difference, a huge difference. You know, we have a whole drawer filled up with thank you letter, mainly from parents, to show how that activity that enabled the kids to build confidence and maybe eventually go to college. We have some example like Brenton and others where it absolutely made a difference in their lives. And being that the studio was built based on a lifestyle, again, you know, I have corporate background. I didn't have to work in pottery. I just did it because I loved it. Then I met Patty, and we both loved the same thing. And realizing that we make a difference, it's sort of throwing us to a different direction. We sort of got addicted. We want more of it. We want to make more difference to more people and share what we've learned. And that's how this article came about. Patty is a key member to have that discovery, and she wrote everything down as far as what she wanted to share with the world. And hopefully we can execute this with as many kids as possible.
Well, I think it's fantastic what you do. I think it really is, and the fact that you entertain special needs children here is great. Lastly, tell me about the sort of hours you're open, a typical week or a season. How do you run the business? When are you open? When are you not open?
We have 3 major offerings. One of them is 8 or 6 week programs. For children, it's 2 hours a week. It's in the afternoon, but that's for the general public. The way we really handle special needs depends on the spectrum of the disability or different way of learning. Sometimes we can include them with other classes or our regular classes, and if we can't, we discuss this with a parent, and we can have special classes. Sometimes we have like homeschooling or special activities. We have time slots where we can schedule whatever comes across our plate, or private lessons. So again, so we have children program, private lessons, summer camp, and we have open studio. Sometimes we train the parent to work with clay. The parent take the clay home or bring the child here during open studio time, and they work with the kid with our guidance. If they're running into any problem, questions or issues, we get involved to help them out.
That's excellent. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you? Should they give you a call? Should they email you? What do you recommend?
Either way, our phone number is easy. It's 323-2222 with a 203 area code. Our website is our name, lakesidepottery.com. And those of you that want to see who we are, our website is pretty comprehensive. It became an educational center as well. We have a whole hundreds of pages of showing people what is clay, how to do things, how to fix broken pottery, the article that you're holding, how to work with special needs kids. So visit the website and send us an email. We check emails often. It's simple. It's studio@lakesidepottery.com.
Great. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.